Once upon a time, nestled high in the Andes of Peru, there was a mysterious valley with a people who were expert stone artisans. For centuries, archaeologists and explorers were captivated by their strange, but beautifully carved stones that seemed to whisper secrets of an ancient civilization. Today, we embark on a journey into the heart of this mystery, uncovering the story of the different types of carved stones that define Peru's ancient craftsmanship. One can look at various architectural styles in Peru that have evolved over time and influenced each other. Our story begins thousands of years ago, in the dawn of Peruvian civilization. The earliest inhabitants, the pre-ceramic peoples, used rough, unshaped stones for their simple tools and constructions. These stones bore the marks of primitive chipping, revealing a beginning of human mastery over nature's gifts. But as time passed, their skills evolved, giving birth to a new style, Carol Soup City, 3500 BC. This city and stonework, often sourced from coastal regions, were softer and easier to carve, allowing artisans to craft intricate patterns and symbols that reflected their connection to the sea. Chavan culture. This culture, which flourished around 900 to 200 BC, is known for its monumental stone structures and underground canals. Chavan de Huantar is a well-known example of this architectural style. Paracas culture. This culture, which flourished around 800 to 100 BC, is known for its textiles and graves. They also built large stone structures and terraces. Nazca culture. This culture, which flourished around 100 BC to 800 AD, is known for its giant geoglyphs, but they also built stone structures and terraces. Moche culture. This culture, which flourished around 100 to 700 AD, is known for its adobe and stone structures, as well as its ceramic works. Wari culture. This culture, which flourished around 600 to 1100 AD, is known for its large cities and stone structures. They also built terraces and irrigation canals. Inca Empire. This is the most well-known civilization in Peru, which flourished around 1200 to 1532 AD. The Incas are known for their stone architecture, terraces, temples, and cities such as Machu Picchu and Cusco. These cultures have all contributed to the rich architectural history of Peru, and their architectural styles have often been influenced by and built upon each other. Today, scientists and archaeologists continue to analyze these architecture styles with advanced technology, laser scanning, 3D modeling, and chemical analysis to unlock their secrets. Each style of stone tells a story of different peoples, beliefs, and skills, woven together into the rich tapestry of Peru's ancient history. So, next time you see a carved stone in Peru, remember, you're gazing at a piece of a puzzle that spans thousands of years, a testament to human ingenuity and the enduring mystery of our past. In the mysterious valleys and towering mountains of Peru, there existed a legend about three sacred realms, Hanan Pasha, Urun Pasha, and Yukon Pasha, that shaped the very stones and structures of the ancient civilizations. Each realm and era was associated with a unique style of stonework, reflecting different philosophies, skills, and spiritual beliefs of the people who built them. The different era are related to Andean cosmology and named after the three spiritual realms of the Inca, Hanan Pasha, Urun Pasha, and Yukon Pasha. Our story begins with Hanan Pasha. This is the upper world or heaven, which includes heavenly beings, stars, the sun, and the moon. In this realm and era, the builders used megalithic stones, massive, solitary blocks that stood like sentinels against the sky. These stones were often polymorphous in shape, meaning they came in various forms, some rounded, others jagged, some with strange, organic contours. Several locations appear to have been destroyed by an enormous force. It looks as if the blocks, weighing several tons, have been destroyed as if they had been blown to pieces. Only the past knows what really happened. All that remains are several huge blocks scattered about, some lying upside down, some partially buried, several with heat damage from extreme heat, and some that appear to be part of a larger structure that has been destroyed into several pieces. This style is recognizable by portals carved into mountainsides, staircases that lead nowhere in particular, thrones and seating areas, and surfaces that all have a glass-like finish. Perhaps the artisans of Hanan Pasha believed that each stone was a living entity, a gift from the gods, and their work was less about perfect fitting and more about expressing the divine chaos and harmony of the universe. The next realm and era, Harun Pasha, the earthly domain of the living world. Here, the focus was on precision, strength, and durability. The builders used large stones, carefully selected and shaped to fit together without mortar. Their signature was the polygonal style, stones cut with such exactness that each fits tightly against its neighbor, creating a seamless wall. These constructions, like the famous walls of Sacsayhuamán, showcase incredible engineering mastery. The stones seem to interlock like a giant jigsaw puzzle, designed to withstand earthquakes and the test of time. The craftsmanship here was scientific, emphasizing stability and harmony with nature's forces. Finally, we come to Yukon Pasha, the New World realm of adaptation and innovation. Here, the ancient builders showed a range of stonework, from roughly hewn blocks to more refined, fairly precise stones. Often, these stones were sealed with mortar, combining the old techniques with new ideas. The structures of Yukon Pasha reflect a practical approach, building resilient temples, terraces, and cities that could accommodate changing needs and influences. Sometimes, the stones were left roughly shaped, yet still aligned in a way that showed the craftsman's growing skill, blending the raw power of natural stone with human ingenuity. There seemed to be an era between Harun Pasha and Yukon Pasha where the precision and size of the stones changed. There is no mortar between the stones like the Harun Pasha period, but the stones used are smaller and have less precision. In some areas, the stones of Harun Pasha are no longer carved with more than 4 angles. Therefore, it seemed that the precision and size of stones changed to less advanced techniques over time. The Yukon Pasha period seemed to copy all of the styles before them. Throughout Peru's history, these 3 styles, Hanan Pasha's organic, divine stones, Harun Pasha's tight-fitting, polygonal blocks, and Yukon Pasha's adaptable, mortar-sealed constructions, coexist like the 3 realms of existence. They tell a story of evolving knowledge, spiritual beliefs, and mastery over nature. Today, when explorers walk among the ruins, be it the towering megaliths at Tiwanaku, the precision walls of Cusco, or the mortar-sealed ruins of later cultures, they are walking through the legacy of these 3 worlds. Each stone whispers a different story, of divine chaos, earthly harmony, and human adaptation. And so, the legend of Peru's stones lives on, an eternal dialogue between the heavens, earth, and the new worlds we continue to discover. Long ago, in the ancient lands of Peru, the builders possessed remarkable techniques for shaping and fitting stones, skills passed down through generations, blending ingenuity with spiritual reverence. Their methods varied across different styles, each suited to the purpose and philosophy of their respective realms and eras. In the earliest days, those of Hanan Pasha, craftsmen worked with simple tools made from harder stones like basalt or quartz. They used hammerstones to chip away at softer rocks, creating rough, organic shapes. Or rather, that is what most researchers are claiming at the moment. For finer carvings, they employed abrasion techniques, rubbing sand or harder stones against the surface to create smooth glass-like surfaces. Because these stones were often single, polymorphous, and organic in form, the craftsmen focused on organic shaping rather than precise fitting. Over time, as the civilizations evolved, they developed more advanced techniques. For the Harun Pasha structures, those with polygonal, tightly fitted stones, the builders mastered precision carving. They used chisels made from harder stones or metals, like copper or bronze, as metallurgy advanced, to carefully shape each stone. This is the consensus in archaeology to date. However, there are several researchers and modern stoneworkers who strongly disagree with this. I will come back to this later. It is further said that the ancient employed controlled percussion tools, hammering with precision to achieve flat surfaces and angles. For the joints, they used abrasive grinding and polishing to ensure tight fits, creating walls that seemed to lock together like giant puzzle pieces. Imagine an ancient quarry, artisans working tirelessly, chipping and grinding, shaping stones that, once fitted together, could withstand the fiercest earthquakes. The polygonal design wasn't just aesthetic, it was a deliberate engineering response. These structures were built to absorb seismic shocks. Their interlocking stones could move slightly during tremors, preventing catastrophic collapse. The precise fitting minimized weak points, turning the entire wall into a resilient barrier against natural disasters. Now, let me tell you a story about how these older styles sometimes seem to have tumbled over as if struck by a great deluge. During a period of cataclysmic flooding, perhaps a massive deluge from the heavens or a tectonic upheaval, the once mighty structures of Hanan Pasha were battered and shattered. The tightly fitted stones, designed to withstand earthquakes, were overwhelmed by the force of nature. Large sections fell, and the polished, precise joints were broken apart, leaving a jumble of broken stones, evidence of a great catastrophe that reshaped the landscape. As for the Harun Pasha's focus on earthquake resistance, the ancient Peruvians understood that their land was geologically active. They observed that large earthquakes and other catastrophes could strike with little warning, so their constructions, especially in earthquake-prone regions, were designed to flex and move rather than break apart. The interlocking polygonal stones allowed for controlled flexibility, distributing seismic energy evenly. Their mastery of fitting stones so precisely was a scientific response, a way to mitigate the destructive power of natural disasters, turning their architecture into a form of resilience rooted in both science and spirituality. Yet, the story of these ruins is also one of respect and continuity. Later civilizations saw the remnants of these ancient walls and learned from them. They built Yukan Pasha structures, often reusing and adapting the old stones, sometimes sealing them with mortar, sometimes roughening them for easier construction. They respected the older styles, understanding that these stones were sacred and sufficiently resilient. They combined the old with the new, creating structures that echoed the strength of the past, but incorporated new techniques, like mortar sealing, to adapt to their changing world. And so, the story of Peru's stones is a story of adaptation, an ancient dialogue with nature. From the divine chaos of Hanan Pasha, through the earthquake-defying precision of Harun Pasha, to the resilient, practical structures of Yukan Pasha, each style reflects the wisdom of those who built them. They learned, they adapted, and they built upon the past, leaving a legacy carved in stone, whispering secrets of a lost world that still puzzles us today. In the mysterious landscape of ancient Peru, among the ruins, there is an intriguing and often perplexing feature. Some stones in the Hanan Pasha and Harun Pasha structures appear to have a strange, melted or fluid-like look. These stones seem as if they were once molten or fused together, defying simple explanation and adding an air of mystique to the ancient craftsmanship. Legend speaks of a time when the divine energies of Hanan Pasha, the realm of the gods and celestial forces, interacted with the earthly realm of Harun Pasha. Some believe that these stones were formed or transformed during a period of spiritual or cosmic upheaval, perhaps a celestial event or a divine intervention. The stone's melted appearance might be a remnant of this powerful energy, like the remnants of a divine fire or cosmic fusion frozen forever in stone. Archaeologists and scholars have pondered whether these stones were naturally formed by geological processes, perhaps subjected to intense heat or pressure deep underground, or artificially shaped by ancient artisans who used special techniques. Some suggest that the builders might have employed heat, fusing smaller stones or minerals together, creating a semi-molten appearance. Others believe that the stone's strange look is an optical illusion, a result of weathering, mineral deposits, or the natural composition of certain rocks that give them a glassy, smooth, and flowing texture. In stories told by the elders, there's a legend that the divine stones of Hanan Pasha were once alive, gifts from the gods, capable of absorbing celestial energies. Over time, some of these stones melted and fused due to cosmic forces or spiritual rituals, symbolizing the fusion of heaven and earth. The shapes of these stones was so precisely angular or round that it seemed as if they had melted the stones in shape, creating seamless, flowing surfaces like the skin of a giant, ancient creature. The strange melted look also connects to the idea that the earliest builders worked with living stones, stones that were more than just mineral, but imbued with spiritual power. Their fluid, organic shapes and interlocking fits reflect an understanding that the stones were part of a living universe, capable of morphing and transforming with divine intent. As generations built upon these ancient stones, respecting their sacred origins, they incorporated the melted and fused stones into their own structures, sometimes deliberately mimicking the look through carving and polishing. This created a visual language, a story told in stone of cosmic unity, where the boundaries between natural and divine, solid and fluid, were blurred. Thus, the strange, melted appearance of some stones in Hanan Pasha and Harun Pasha is more than just an aesthetic feature. It is a symbol of cosmic fusion, a reminder that the universe itself is constantly in motion, blending fire, stone, and spirit into an eternal dance, carved in the sacred architecture of the ancient Peruvians. Imagine a time long ago where people stood before enormous stone blocks, wondering how they could have shaped and melted these mighty giants into perfect building blocks. As the centuries passed, modern scientists and archaeologists became increasingly fascinated by the strange, melted appearance of some stones in the ancient Peruvian structures. They studied the intricate fits, the smooth, flowing surfaces, and the way some stones seemed to fuse seamlessly with their neighbors, almost as if they had been melted or softened before being set into place. Some places the big stone blocks have strange scoop marks on them, like someone used a giant spoon to remove the stone surface to shape and carve stones. These markings have been found on similar stonework all around the world. Other stone blocks have protruding knobs in random places. No one to date knows their purpose or how they were formed. Some stones have niches too. Were they used to move the stones in place? Often they are placed at the bottom of the stone, as if they were using a rod to push the stone in its place. In Cusco, certain stone blocks feature a distinctive lip at the top, giving the impression that the stones were pushed forward into position, leaving a protruding edge. This unique characteristic is most noticeable in areas where the stone blocks have shifted back or fallen out of place due to earthquake damages. Today, through a fanciful journey with AI, we can imagine what magical methods they might have used, methods combining chemistry, heat, and creativity. Some curious minds began to wonder, could the ancient builders have used plant material or organic substances to aid in shaping and fitting these stones? Could they have employed a technique of softening the stones, perhaps through chemical or thermal processes, making them easier to carve, mold, or fuse together? Scientists propose the intriguing hypothesis that the ancient artisans might have soaked or coated the stones with plant-based resins, juices, or sap substances known to penetrate the rock's surface and alter its properties temporarily. These materials could have softened the outer layers of the stones, allowing the builders to reshape or align them more precisely. Once the stones dried or the organic material burned away or evaporated, the stones would harden again, locking into their perfect fit. Some researchers pointed to the abundant native plants, like certain types of cactus, yucca, or resin-producing trees, that the ancient Peruvians might have had access to. These plant materials, when processed, could produce sticky, pliable compounds capable of binding stones together or filling gaps. Such compounds might also have acted as cements or lubricants, allowing the stones to slide into place more easily during construction. There's also speculation that thermal treatment, careful heating of the stones, could have been used to slightly soften or expand the mineral grains, making them easier to fit tightly. The melted or flowing appearance of some stones might be the result of natural mineral reactions induced by heat, or even deliberate heating rituals performed by the builders as part of their sacred craft. The problem with this theory alone is that granite has a melting point of around 1,215 to 1,260 degrees Celsius, or 2,239 to 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit. It is difficult to achieve such temperatures with primitive methods and usually requires an enclosure. It is theorized that they could have used chemical processes to melt granite and metamorphosed limestone, the very stone that forms many of the most impressive monuments. Although this technology sounds almost magical, it is actually based on advanced chemical principles. One possibility is that they used strong acids, perhaps a form of hydrofluoric acid, known for its ability to attack quartz, one of the hardest minerals in granite. This acid, extremely dangerous and challenging to handle, could have been used to break down the minerals, making the stone more malleable. A very common rock that was being used in constructions in Peru is andesite, a hard volcanic rock made of basalt and rhyolite. It contains sodium-rich plagioclase, a type of feldspar, and pyroxene or hornblende, a solution of natronite, also known as sodium carbonate or potassium carbonate, can be used to attack and soften feldspar and other minerals in andesite and granite. This can be done by applying the solution to the stone and then heating it to accelerate the reaction. Local Peruvians are also telling stories about a compound mix of gold and plants mixed together that they used as a form of cement between stones. Was this mixture using pyrite, a mineral composed of iron sulfide, or did they use a copper-iron sulfide mineral? Both minerals look like gold. Pyrite is often referred to as fool's gold because of its brassy yellow color and metallic luster, which can be mistaken for gold. Pyrite has been used to produce sulfuric acid and sulfur oxide. Metamorphosed limestone, also known as marble, is also highly used in several architectural styles of the Inca. Marble consists of carbonate minerals, most commonly calcite and dolomite. Dolomite can give a glassy appearance. The hardness of metamorphosed limestone ranges from 3 to 5 on Mohs scale. Granite ranges between 5 to 6 on Mohs scale. Andesite has 7 on Mohs scale. Imagine a group of master artisans carefully using hazardous chemical in secret recipes to soften the stones. Some explorers have noticed that some ancient symbols and patterns are integrated in stone, not by painting on top of the stone surface, but by changing the very structure of the minerals in the stone in itself to make a distinct pattern or symbol. Did the ancients have knowledge of magnets to shift iron minerals in the stones to create patterns or any other methods of that sort? That's a technique lost to time. We can't replicate that in our modern time. Another fascinating theory involves hydrothermal processes, where hot water under high pressure circulates through the stones, much like nature's own melting furnace. The ancient cultures might have used natural hot springs or crafted heat chambers to cause the minerals to react and become more shapeable. Envision engineers carefully adjusting temperature and pressure to melt or soften the stone, almost like cooking a complex recipe. Although in the large scale of some of the stone blocks this is very unlikely the method they used. But the stories don't stop there. Imagine they also used electric currents, an advanced technology of its time, to reach extremely high temperatures, perhaps creating an early industrial process that melted metal. Or maybe they had discovered how to harness laser-like beams of light, a primitive but powerful form of light-based melting, to shape and melt stones with high precision. Although these methods sound like science fiction, they are based on real chemical and physical principles. It's possible that ancient engineers combined heat, chemical reactions, and mechanical tools to achieve the impossible, melting and shaping stones that today stand as timeless monuments. Picture that these techniques were kept secret in ancient texts or traditions, and that our modern technology is now exploring and perhaps reviving them. It's a beautiful blend of science, art, and mystery, a reminder that human ingenuity knows no bounds. These ideas remain highly speculative but captivating. They suggest that the ancient Peruvians might have possessed advanced knowledge of organic and mineral materials, thermal techniques, and stone manipulation, knowledge that allowed them to create structures that seem almost alive in their fluid, fused appearance. In this story of ancient ingenuity, the builders seem to have blended science and spirituality, using plants, heat, and craft to achieve a level of architectural mastery that continues to baffle and inspire us today. Perhaps, in some hidden chamber beneath these stones, there still linger traces of organic or mineral substances, silent witnesses to a forgotten craft, whispering secrets of a civilization that understood the secret language of fire, flora, and minerals, shaping their world in harmony with the cosmos. Scientists and archaeologists have long been fascinated by how the ancient Peruvians managed to lift and position the enormous stones used in their monumental structures, especially given the limited technology available thousands of years ago. While some details remain a mystery, there is a general consensus on several plausible techniques that these skilled builders likely used, based on experimental archaeology, historical records, and the study of ancient sites. One of the most widely accepted methods was the use of earthen ramps. Builders would create long, gradual slopes made from compacted earth and stones, allowing workers to drag or roll large stones upward. These ramps could be straight or zigzag to reduce the steepness, making it easier to move enormous blocks to higher levels. Evidence of such ramps has been found near some Inca sites, supporting this idea. Another common technique involved placing stones on wooden rollers, circular logs placed beneath the stones, so they could be rolled along the ground. Alternatively, sliding techniques used slick, lubricated surfaces, perhaps with water, oil, or plant extracts, to reduce friction. Workers would push or pull the stones using ropes and manpower, sometimes employing leverage with wooden beams. While the use of complex pulleys is debated, some experts believe that simple pulley-like mechanisms could have been employed, utilizing leverage points, counterweights, and human strength to lift or pivot stones into place. Wooden beams and ropes, combined with teamwork and ingenuity, would have allowed them to tilt and position the stones precisely. It's generally agreed that large labor forces, organized communities working together, were essential. These workers would have been well coordinated, using ropes, pulleys, and scaffolding, and following ritualistic or ceremonial practices to motivate and organize their efforts. Some researchers suggest that ancient builders capitalized on natural landscape features, such as cliffs or slopes, to facilitate lifting and moving stones. They might have leveraged the terrain to reduce the amount of effort needed. While the exact methods remain partly speculative, the consensus among scientists is that the ancient Peruvians used a combination of ramps, rollers, levers, manpower, and natural terrain to lift and position their heavy stones. Their engineering ingenuity, teamwork, and understanding of physics, applied with spiritual reverence, enabled them to achieve feats that still amaze us today. The development of cranes has a long history, with early examples dating back to ancient civilizations. The first cranes were likely simple machines used to lift heavy objects, and their design and capabilities have evolved significantly over time. Sumerians and Chaldeans used machines similar to cranes. They passed this knowledge to the Egyptians. The birth of the crane is inextricably tied with the birth of the pulley, first devised by ancient Mesopotamians as early as 1500 BC for hoisting water. The ancient Egyptians used simple cranes made of wood and rope to build their pyramids and temples. These cranes were likely lever-based and could lift relatively heavy objects. The cranes were likely capable of lifting a few tons, but the exact capacity is not well documented. Some have estimated 50 persons to lift 2.5 tons in ancient Egypt. The capstones, the limestone slabs on the outside surface of the pyramid, weigh 3 tons, but the biggest supporting slabs of the pyramid are estimated to weigh 70 tons. The statues, colossi of Memnon, weigh 700 tons each. The Greeks and Romans developed more sophisticated cranes, often using pulleys and winches. These cranes could lift several tons, but the exact capacity varied depending on the design and materials used. Some Roman cranes, like the one used in the construction of the Colosseum, could lift around 5 to 10 tons. The simplest Roman crane, the trespasstos, consisted of a single beam, a winch, a rope, and a block containing 3 pulleys. Heavier types of crane offered 5 pulleys, pentaspastos, or, in the larger case, a system of 3 by 5 pulleys, polyspastos, with 2, 3, or 4 masts, depending on the maximum load. The lifting capacity of the polyspastos was 60 times higher than the capacity of ancient Egypt. Roman polyspastros, 3,000 kilograms per person. Egyptian, 50 kilograms per person. During the Middle Ages, cranes became more common in Europe, particularly for construction projects like cathedrals and castles. These cranes often used a combination of levers, pulleys, and human or animal power. They could lift several tons, but the exact capacity was limited by the strength of the materials and the power source. The Industrial Revolution brought significant advancements in crane technology. Steam-powered cranes were introduced, which greatly increased lifting capacity. These cranes could lift tens of tons, depending on their design and power source. The development of electric and hydraulic cranes further increased lifting capacity. Modern cranes can lift hundreds of tons, and some specialized cranes can lift thousands of tons. A modern tower crane can lift up to 20 tons. Cranes connected as one can lift and move up to 1,000 tons. Construction cranes can lift up to 300 tons. There are also super cranes. The largest in the world today can lift up to 20,000 tons. The Tyson crane is a gantry crane and have a lifting capacity of 20,000 tons. SSCV Sleipnir is a specialized floating crane and have a lifting capacity of 10,000 tons. In summary, the first cranes were relatively simple and could lift a few tons at most. Over time, advancements in technology and materials have significantly increased the lifting capacity of cranes, with modern cranes capable of lifting hundreds to thousands of tons. As the mystery of how the ancient could lift heavy stone blocks deepens, some scientists and researchers have explored an even more extraordinary idea. Could the ancient builders have used sound frequencies to levitate and position the massive stones in their sacred structures? This theory arose from the observation of the precise fits and seamless joins between stones, many of which are so perfectly aligned that they seem almost impossible to achieve with simple tools or manual effort. The strange, flowing appearance of some stones, almost as if they had been melted or fused, could, in this new light, be the result of sound-based techniques. The idea is that the ancient artisans might have employed specific sound frequencies, vibrations, hums, or chants, to generate a resonance capable of reducing the effective weight of the stones, or even levitating them into place. By creating a standing wave or resonant frequency, they could have temporarily counteracted gravity, allowing the stones to be moved and fitted with incredible precision. Some experiments in modern times have shown that certain sound frequencies can alter the physical properties of materials, making them more malleable or lighter. While we can't be certain that the ancient builders had advanced acoustic technology, the possibility that they used sound as a tool, a kind of sonic magic, has captured imaginations. It's believed that the sacred chants or humming rituals performed during construction might have produced specific frequencies, perhaps passed down through generations, designed to resonate with the stones themselves. These vibrations could have softened the stone's surface, aligned mineral molecules, or even lifted the stones into place, all through the power of sound waves. Some legends tell of temples and monuments built with the help of resonant chambers or hidden acoustic devices, carefully crafted to amplify their sacred chants. The faint, humming echoes that still linger within some ancient sites might be remnants of these sonic rituals, a forgotten technology that allowed the ancients to work with the very vibrations of the universe. Legends of Stonehenge holds that ancient druids levitated the stones into place with their eldritch rituals. The Swedish aircraft designer Henrik Jelson sketched a drawing in 1939 of Tibetan monks levitate stones by using an acoustic levitation technique with the aid of drums and trumpets. His friend, a Swedish doctor named Dr. Jarl, had been invited by monks to visit and witnessing this technique. He filmed the session, but it was then confiscated and classified by the English Society, which Dr. Jarl was a part of. Whether or not this theory is entirely true, it adds a layer of mystery and wonder to the story of the ancient Peruvians. It hints that they could have been masters of sound and vibration, harnessing cosmic frequencies to shape their world, blending spiritual power with scientific insight in a way that continues to capture our imagination. And so, beneath the silent stones, the story of sound, fire, plant magic, and divine energy continues, woven into the very fabric of their incredible architecture, whispering secrets of a civilization that knew how to dance with the vibrations of the cosmos. The ancient Peruvians were not mere builders, but visionaries who could transform thought into stone. Each stone was more than a rock, it was a puzzle piece in a grand design that required mathematical precision, astronomical knowledge, and a profound connection to the natural world. The workers' hands could move across a layout drawn in the soft earth. In their minds, they calculated angles, considered water flow, and anticipated the movement of the sun. The temples or buildings would not just be a structure, but a living entity that breathed with the mountain, captured the light, and honored the cosmic rhythms. The techniques used demanded extraordinary mental discipline. Each stone would be cut so precisely that no space would exist between them, not even a blade could slip through. It was a method that required incredible spatial reasoning, advanced geometric understanding, profound patience, and a collective mental collaboration. The sites the ancient Peruvians chose was challenging steep mountain slopes with unpredictable terrain. Where others saw obstacles, they saw opportunities. They would transform the impossible landscapes into a series of agricultural terraces that would feed generations. The ancient team of engineers and workers would carve the mountainside into stepped platforms, each level carefully calculated to maximize agricultural potential, prevent soil erosion, create efficient water management systems, and align with astronomical observations. Water was the lifeblood of their civilization. They knew that to create a sustainable temple complex, they had to understand every droplet's journey. They designed a water management system so sophisticated that it would control flow, prevent contamination, and ensure pure water for the community. Canals would be built with a precise 3% slope, strategically placed fountains would distribute water, and safety valves would protect against flooding. Each element was a testament to their remarkable mental capacities, turning water from a potential threat into a controlled, life-giving resource. As the years passed, the temple emerged not just built, but grown from the mountain itself. Massive stones weighing tons were moved and positioned with such precision that they seemed to have grown together, defying the laws of conventional construction. Imagine the ancient Peruvians watched as the first rays of the solstice sun perfectly aligned with a carefully positioned window, illuminating an inner chamber. In that moment, they would understand that their greatest achievement was not the stones themselves, but the incredible mental journey that had transformed raw landscape into a living, breathing testament to human potential. Imagine the workers didn't first build the physical structures, they all created them in their mind. Let me explain further. Remember learning about Plato, the philosopher? He who developed the theory that objects first exist as ideas or forms in a mental/ideal world before being manifested in the physical world. His central philosophical concept can be summarized as follows. Plato believed there are two worlds, a sensory world, the physical world we can observe, and an idea world, a mental, unchanging world of perfect forms. He further elaborated by saying, objects first exist as perfect ideas. The physical objects we see around us are merely imperfect copies of these ideal forms. Example: a chair in the physical world is an imperfect imitation of the perfect chair idea that exists in the world of ideas. Plato argued that Physical objects are changeable and imperfect. Ideas are eternal, unchanging, and more real than physical objects. We can recognize objects because we have an innate connection to the world of ideas through our soul. Plato illustrated this concept through his famous cave allegory, where humans are like prisoners in a cave who only see shadows on the wall. These shadows represent the limited physical reality, while the true world exists outside the cave. Did Plato tap into something profound about our world? Especially how our inner, mental, and spiritual world affects the physical world. Is it possible that the ancient Peruvians knew how to use mental or spiritual powers in a more profound way than we modern people do today? A mental and spiritual ability that we have long forgotten about. Perhaps they imagined or saw a perfect stone structure or temple on a mental plane before manifesting it into being in our physical world. Their culture seemed to be fixated on spirituality, capturing the light and honoring the cosmic rhythms. Maybe they didn't have to use physical, time-consuming labor to construct their temples and buildings? What if the ancient Peruvians already planned the structures and their function in a mental plane first before manifesting and letting them appear in the physical world? This theory is highly speculative. It adds a layer of mystery and wonder to the story of the ancient Peruvians. It hints that they could have been masters of mind, vibration, and manifestation, harnessing cosmic frequencies to shape their world, blending spiritual power with scientific insight in a way that continues to capture our imagination. The story of the ancient Peruvians reveal that they were not just builders, but philosophers of space, masters of engineering, and poets of stone. Their temples were not merely structures, but manifestations of extraordinary mental capabilities that continue to inspire wonder to this day. So, what do you think? Do you have an idea of how the ancient cultures could carve out, move, shape, and form these huge, multi-ton stone blocks used in different temple complexes in South America and especially in Peru? Tell me what you think in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. And remember to stay curious.